So if you're watching this, you're in my training program, and thank you for that. This is the beginning of the jump workout, and what that is the cross-country skiers outdoor gym. It's a lot of power, agility, and so I'm going to go through each one of the steps in the order that I'd like you to do it on the plan, and each thing we usually do twice per set, and often we do 2 or 3 sets. So the first exercise on this is called frogs. It's like a platform jump or a box jump, but we're doing it on an uphill gradual. You want to make sure you're not on pavement so you don't get shin splints or get injured. So, gravel or a nice grassy knoll is perfect like this. The technique for this is to start with your elbows right where your knees are. You start here and extend and leap forward like Superman with your hands. What you don't want to do is start with your hands back, because that only uses momentum of your arms to move you forward, and you can arch your back and you have back problems. So you start here, so you can use just your legs, platform jump, and you want to do between 10 to 20 of these based on your level. Here we go. Shot, you extend all the way forward. And up the hill. So Ricardo, let's see what you do. Yep, reach forward. Good. So you want to do 2 sets of frogs and then move on to the next exercise. So the next exercise is a skate jump. And that's done a forward leg crossover. You step here, and you want your hands to be up, as if you're going to use your poles. You're pulling on this foot. So what you're going to do is start the hands up, pull until your hands hit your hips, and then you can blast off this foot. Hands go back, and you're trying to go up as much as down the trail, or up the hill, with as big as steps as you can, right? So in movement, it's continuous. It looks like this. Hands go up. Okay? It's important to note that you want your hips completely in the direction opposite of what you're moving. So you want them perpendicular to the uphill that you're going up. So make sure that you're not twisting your hips this way. You want to keep your hips facing the opposite way. So when you go to push off your leg, it's all in alignment.
I don't think I got it right.
So you want to do 2 sets of each. That's 2 sets facing one direction, 2 sets facing the other direction. What I'd like you to do is to go up the hill facing one side. The next time you go up, face the other side. The next time again, the same side the first time, and then face the other direction. So this is an example of doing it in the other direction. You need to be ambidextrous as skiers, so use both sides. Here we go. So one of the common mistakes is when you land. You want to land with your hip in front of your heel. And then come down with your hip in front of your heel. So go ahead, Ricardo, let's see what you do. Okay, let's do that again with more distance. Because it looks like you're just going too light. I want people to see the distance that you're getting and see that. Okay, so go Ricardo, let's see what you do. So on the skate crossover jumps, you want to do at least 15 strides. So every time you put one foot down, that's a stride. So here we go. 1, 2. That's how you count them out. You just pick one foot, and every time that hits the ground, that's a count. So the next exercise we're going to do is the one-legged hops, similar to classic striding. So you're going to wait till your hand gets to your hip, and the same thing with the hand coming forward, and you just jump with one foot. should be an explosive exercise to help bring the leg forward from behind. As much as you think it's a downward grinding to push your leg forward, it's more about bringing your back leg forward, so we get used to that momentum build when we're kicking our ski forward in classic striding. So the best way to really get into this position is get into a stride where your opposite hand is forward from your foot, and you're going to drive that leg forward. You're going to land, you're going to jump off of one foot and land on that very same foot. You want at least 15 strides of this per set. So every time one foot hits your right foot, if we're starting with that, hits the ground, that's one. 1, 2, and so on and so forth. So let's see Ricardo do this. We'll try to get as much distance up the hill as you can. Yep. Drive that knee forward from behind to get you further up the hill. Yep. It's okay if you have to take a hop to reset. Yep. And then reset and then drive again. Great. So the further back you start with your leg, the more forward momentum and power you're going to get. So for this drill, this exercise, do the right leg twice, the left leg twice, but not in that order. You want to do right leg, left leg, right leg, left leg, and that's per set. So the final thing of all the exercises is the backwards run. And the importance of the backwards run is to gain the muscle and the power that you need when you're actually striding in uphill in this direction. You're pushing your feet forward, so we need to work on pushing our feet forward. So much of our exercise is always pushing backwards, and we're running, we're always doing that, cycling, we're always pushing down, but we can also work the counter muscles to push forward, and the best way to do that is to run uphill backwards. So another way of looking at this technique is if I was to replay this video in forward, it should look like I'm running forwards, just in rewind, okay, to give you an aspect. So I want to lean forward, reach forward with my hands, and reach back with my feet. So I'm planting my feet as far back as I can do it comfortably and pulling myself up the hill, as well as trying to kick off forward too. So here we go. So one thing you don't want to look like is leaning backwards and doing like you're out for a Sunday jog. That's not going to do it. The best way to do this is just lean forward, drive your hands back, and that'll help you get some hang time. Use full range of motion with your forward kick. Yep, so drive those arms, swing them straight forward, straight back, as much upward distance as you can get. Okay, let's try it again. You can do better. Okay, let's try that one again. Now get some momentum before we get up here. She's going to film this whole thing.
How do you get the momentum?
Like, I think you need to get some momentum, like maybe start small and then go big.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, get some speed.
Okay, ready?
Yep. There's a couple good ones in there.
Which muscle am I supposed to be using here?
Your hamstrings a little bit, but it's your quadriceps.
Okay.
Because muscles can only contract, they can't expand, they can't push. So it's really the opposite of what you normally would be doing running. It's the backwards run. So after you've attempted the backwards run, you want to do it twice, and that's the end of one set. Thanks. So for those of you that are struggling with the coordination of the crossover skate jump, start on a flat surface. So then it's not the uphill extreme, and you can learn in a nice controlled environment. The skate jump, looking from the side to keep the hip in front of the heel, when you land, from that position, this camera view, you can see where my hip is in relation to my foot. But it's the one that's going to land here in a second that I was talking about. So you want to keep your hip in front of your heel, on the landing foot. Another technique that you can do on a nice gradual uphill, you can do a V2 jump, have a little hop in between. You always want to push your poles before you jump off, hands to the hips and then jump, hands to the hips and then jump. You can also do this with a V2 alternate. So you use the upswing to help get you over to this side. Use the second pulling motion, hands to the hip, and then jump. That's to the left side, and to the right. And on an uphill, I can zigzag my way up this hill. It gives you a lot of distance, and you can choose how much further up the hill I want to go, and you always want to go as far to the side as you can. It's going to increase your stride length and how much balance time you have too. Okay, so for skating, if you ever find yourself up a really steep hill and you're just too tired to V1 anymore, there's one technique that you can always fall into. We call it the granny skate, and a way to practice that in the summer is to imagine having a log right in the middle of the hill and your feet are not allowed to go inside of it. So you want to plant your pole just before your foot as you're coming up. And it looks kind of like a gecko running in a hot desert, but you can practice that so when the time comes, your muscles and your body's trained to do that technique. So to practice the V1 on an uphill in the summertime on a hill like this, you can easily jump, keep a distance with your heels so they don't impede on each other, because normally you have ski tails, they would cross over, and you want to jump up the hill as much as the side when you're doing this. So you just put your hands in a V1 position. You obviously have shorter poles, so your hands are going to plant a little closer to your body than normal, but the most important thing is getting your hands to go beyond your hips. And when you do that, then you can step on the other ski. So it's important to have the right pole length. And to check your pole length, put your hands in your poles and stand on about even ground. You shouldn't have your arms too high up, so your forearms should be parallel to the ground. That allows your hand to get to your hip and beyond your hip when you're doing this. If your poles are too long, you only get to your hip, and that's not good enough. You need to have more pole movement and move your hand beyond your hip during this technique.